Hello, everybody. This is Richard RJ Eskow for the 0 Hour with your random news headlines, the headlines and the news stories you may not have seen or may not have given much thought to, sometimes for good reason. But let's see what we found this week. The president's proposal to tax 529 plans, that is saving plans where people can save for their children's education in a tax-free investment situation, was shot down. The president has withdrawn that proposal. As many people noted, he made the proposal because these tax-free plans largely benefit higher earning families. However, that definition of higher earning is elastic, as it turns out, depending on how much you yourself earn. For example, $200,000 is very much in the upper tier of earnings for most families. However, as it turns out, and as the New York Times reported, it is quite typical for the kinds of people who make policy, the kinds of people who report on policy, the kinds of people who ultimately vote on policy in legislative bodies. So by making this proposal, the president may have thought he was taking away a tax advantage for higher earners, but he was taking away a tax advantage for some of his most powerful constituencies, the media and policymakers themselves. So the president's 529 proposal went down in flames this weekend. Now, here's a story you probably did hear about, but thought about it. The Michelle Obama headscarf controversy in Saudi Arabia. The right has been making a huge deal about it. You know, they criticized Michelle Obama when she and her husband, the president, went to a mosque in Indonesia because she wore a headscarf. She has received criticism this time around for not wearing a headscarf. She has also received praise from the likes of Ted Cruz, among others. Now, why is this crazy? Because it's not a big deal. Even in Saudi Arabia, which is, kind of barbaric in some of their views, foreign female visitors are not expected to wear headscarves. So it was not, contrary to some reporting on Fox and elsewhere, it was not controversial in Saudi Arabia. It was a big deal here. Now, what's interesting about that is all the politicians and pundits making a big deal about Michelle Obama wearing or not wearing a headscarf aren't making a big deal about the fact that the president of the United States and his wife went to a country that we support substantially militarily and in other ways, and which is very backward in its thinking and a bad influence on the Islamic world. But that, of course, does not get reporting. Headscarves get reporting. Now, in other news, we found out, thanks to an ad put out by the fast food giant McDonald's, that there are a total of 19 ingredients in a McDonald's French fry. 19 ingredients, including, potatoes. We're relieved to see that they are present. Canola oil, hydrogenated soybean oil, natural beef flavor, hydrolyzed wheat, hydrolyzed milk, dimethyl polysil, the guy's hand is covering up the rest of it, sodium acid, TBHQ. I don't know if this stuff is bad or not, but I would suggest that it's probably not great publicity for McDonald's to tell us that there are 19 ingredients in a McDonald's French fry, which is my one fast food weakness that I have been unable to conquer. So maybe this will help me conquer it. That's the good news. Now, in other news, more and more people are leaving the beekeeping profession. We learn from the Wall Street Journal that a number of people are abandoning beekeeping because, as one beekeeper put it, quote, the costs are just getting out of hand. I'm getting tired of it. For nearly a decade now, beekeepers have been losing nearly 30% of their bee population every winter, and they say they can only get by if they lose no more than 19% of their bees every year. So the bee die-off is making beekeeping financially unsustainable. A researcher at the University of Maryland said, we're not worried about the bees going extinct. We're worried about the beekeepers going extinct. If they do, the cost of honey could soar through the roof, and who knows what the other ecological implications are. We will keep you posted on this slow-breaking but nevertheless important story of beekeeping. Now, in Japan, we learned that there is an ongoing crisis of young people who become reclusive and refuse to go out at all. They are called the hikikomori, and they do not leave their rooms. It is a widespread phenomenon. People don't know whether it is standard depression or anxiety disorder or some combination of other phenomena, but it has become a crisis in Japan. Now, Rand Paul says that he would shoot a drone out of the sky with a shotgun if it flew over them, him and his family. He says, people better beware because I got a shotgun. Drones should only be used according to the Constitution. Now, drones are not addressed in the Constitution, so we will need another policy alternative. On the drone front, a battery-operated drone carrying 7 pounds of meth crashed in a strip mall, a supermarket parking lot, rather, not far from the U.S.-Mexico border. It's not smart to load up a drone with 7 pounds of meth. That is the moral there. The dealers should have known better. And, of course, a federal intelligence worker apparently crashed his drone onto the White House grounds early Monday after drinking too much. Drinking and droning. Don't do it. I'm Richard RJ Eskow for the 0 Hour.